Around the corner. Here we are.
We are just honored tonight to have a very special guest. He has appeared over 700 times to universities, colleges, schools, churches, synagogues, prisons, companies, book clubs.
Walter Wiener is one of the very few Holocaust survivors still living in the Portland area. He was interviewed by radio, by TV stations and newspapers. Mr. Wiener received an honorary bachelor degree from Warner Pacific College,
then an honorary law degree from Lewis and Clark Law School.
His story is a testimony to an unfolding tragedy taking place during World War II. We are so lucky to have Mr. Wiener here with us today. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here, willing to listen to my story. It's not a pleasant one, but it's a very true one. I might look to you to be a normal person, but I'm not. It reminds me the other day I spoke at a library in Vancouver, and a young man approached me. He said to me, "I know what you mean when you say you are not normal. I am not normal either." And I looked at him and I wondered, why did he say that? Well, I came back from Iraq. I lost my right leg over there. But they fixed me with an artificial leg. People that don't know me personally, when I walk, they assume that I'm a normal person. But when I come home to take a shower or to go to bed, I realize that I'm not normal because I put my artificial leg apart. And I never will be. Same here. I have scars, physical scars, mental scars. They are constant reminders. I have nightmares till this very day, even though this happened so many years ago. So I'm not a normal person. I lived in New York for many years. I didn't talk about it. It's very difficult to talk about it. There was one lady here that she introduced herself before, telling me that her father, World War II veteran, could never talk about it. Tom Brokaw, in his book, The Greatest Generation, he's telling us that he tried to interview World War II veterans, and many of them couldn't talk about it. So I didn't talk about it either. If I ever talked about the Holocaust, it was among other survivors while I was living in New York. But coming to Oregon about 11 years ago, I was approached by the Oregon Holocaust Resource Center, and they asked me to share my story. The young lady who approached me pleaded with me to share my story. And I, as a matter of principle, I never say no to a young lady. In my first presentation, I gave it a chance, even though I hesitated because I have an accent, my English is not perfect, I never did it before. And my first presentation was at Century High School in Hillsborough. A week later, the teacher gave me about 100 letters from the students. What did they write to me? "Mr. Wiener, you changed my life. You saved my life. You made me appreciate my parents. You made me appreciate school." Then I realized that I'm doing something important. And that is the reason that since then I've shared my story with 725 different audiences. And I got 44,000 letters. If you read those letters, you will realize the benefit or the impact my story has, especially on those young people. And I'm very gratified. And that's the reason that I make an effort. It's not easy emotionally, physically. I'm 86 years old. But when you read those letters, you'll realize how important sharing my story is. In fact, if you read my book, you don't have to purchase it. You can get it in the library. It's available in all the libraries. You will see over there on page 158 a handwritten letter by an 8th grader that she intended to kill herself on Thursday. whatever the reason was. But then when she heard my story, she changed her mind. She did not kill herself. She realized how trivial her problems were in comparison to mine at her age. You will see in my book a handwritten letter by a senior in high school that her mother passed away on ovarian cancer, and she was devastated. She was very despondent. But then when she heard my story that I lost 123 members of my extended family, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, they were all murdered. I'm the only survivor of my immediate family. So she said, oh my God, I still have a daddy. I still have siblings. So she got a complete different perspective, and she did not kill herself. So this is one of the main reasons that I'm sharing my story. The responses are amazing. The second reason is there are people who are ignorant about the Holocaust. The other day, a teacher asked me to make him a copy how I looked after the war. So I went to Kinko's to make a copy. But I didn't know how to operate a copier machine. I asked a young man to help me. And he looked at me and looked at the picture, and he said to me, this you? Yeah. You don't look like a criminal. So, I am not a criminal. I am not a criminal. I'm a Holocaust survivor. He had no idea what I was talking about. I was shocked. And he was born right here in Portland. You never heard about Hitler? Oh yeah, Hitler I know, but Holocaust, what is Holocaust? I was shocked, but it's a fact. Whatever I share with you today is just facts, no theories and no fiction. The third reason that I'm sharing my story, there are people who say, it's a myth, didn't happen. They deny the Holocaust. Even the president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, he said in the United Nations 2 years ago that the Holocaust is a myth. How dare he say so? That there are still Holocaust survivors carrying their mental and physical scars, and somebody tells you it did not happen? The book that I wrote, From a Name to a Number, why did I write it? I don't pretend to be a writer, an author. But I went to a church, a Presbyterian church, and at the end of my presentation, an older gentleman approached me with tears in his eyes, and that's what he told me. I was an officer in the American Army in 1945. I was one of the liberators of Buchenwald, a very infamous camp in Germany. And he broke down. He says to me, I have nightmares till this very day. Please promise me that you are going to put your story in print. Do it for my children and for my grandchildren. This is the only reason that I wrote that book. I have no financial interest in it. But the first copy of my book, I went to the post office and I sent it to the president of Iran. And I paid $30 to send it to him. And since then, every year, I'm sending him a letter with pictures, proving him that it's ridiculous to deny the Holocaust. There's no other event in history that has been so well documented as World War II, mainly because the advent of photography and recording. And still, prominent people, like a leader of 70 million people, tells his people that it is a myth. It's very painful, especially to a Holocaust survivor like me. Somebody tells me it didn't happen. So as I said, every year I'm sending him a letter. And last year I did something unique. I've been getting a check from Germany every month. So I made a copy of the check and attached it to the letter. And I asked him a simple question. If there was no Holocaust, why do the Germans send me a check and not to you?